Hello and welcome to Cozy Cinema, where we listen, we unwind, and we drift into sleep. I'm your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we'll journey into a reimagined, dreamy retelling of a beloved cinematic story, one that soothes the mind and invites you into peaceful slumber. But before we begin, let's take a moment to settle in. Find your most comfortable position. Let your body relax and take a slow, deep breath in. Then exhale, letting go of any tension from the day. Allow your breath to guide you into a place of calm, feeling the weight of sleep slowly embracing you. No need to force anything. Just listen, breathe, and let the gentle rhythm of the story carry you away. So now, without further ado, let's begin our journey into tonight's cozy tale. It's a soft, late afternoon. Chihiro, a 10-year-old girl, sits gloomily in the rear seat of the family's car, clutching a little bouquet of pink flowers given to her as a goodbye present. She wears a striped t-shirt and bright sneakers. On the passenger side, her mother peers out with slight concern at the empty countryside. Driving is her father, in an upbeat mood about this relocation to a small town. But for Chihiro, every familiar piece of her life is slipping away. Her old school, her best friend. So she sulks and gazes at the gift card attached to the flowers. The road meanders, and as they near their new neighborhood, Chihiro's father, confident in his driving skills, takes a questionable shortcut up a hillside flanked by towering trees. The paved surface ends abruptly, replaced by a bumpy dirt track. With each jostle, the cardboard boxes in the back seat shift, and Chihiro's anxiety rises. Eventually, they arrive at a stop. Before them stands a weathered red brick structure, almost like a torii gate or a rustic tunnel entrance, looming large against a forest backdrop. The father notices a strange passage leading through it. Curious, he parks. Chihiro nervously protests, wanting to get to their new house without delay, but her parents are intrigued by this forgotten path. They step out into the summer air that smells faintly of damp earth and pine needles. Father leads the way, mother follows, and Chihiro reluctantly trails behind, still clutching her flowers. Together they approach the opening in the building. The inside is dark and hollow, reminding Chihiro of a spooky train station or some old theme park entrance. A faint breeze trickles in, and dust motes shimmer where the sun peeks through. The walls are cracked plaster, giving everything an abandoned feel. Chihiro resists, telling her parents she has a bad feeling about this place, but they encourage her. "Just a quick look," says father. "It might be fun." As they walk deeper, echoing footsteps fill the passageway. Slowly, the dim corridor brightens. At the other end, they emerge into a broad, grassy field bathed in sunlight. The sky opens majestically, revealing an expanse of tall grass and scattered relics, like small stone statues or shrines. Off in the distance, half hidden by the field, are mismatched buildings in curious, old-fashioned styles. Father exclaims, "It looks like an abandoned amusement park. One of those places built during an economic boom and then deserted." Chihiro notices the faint smell of food riding on a breeze. Though uneasy, she follows as her parents wander, drawn by this tempting aroma. They traverse the deserted walkways, passing rows of empty storefronts painted in bright colors, some sporting old signs. Chihiro sees not a single living person. She tugs at her mother's sleeve, worried about intruders or ghosts. But her parents keep pressing on, following that delightful smell until it leads them to a bustling spread of food. Racks of roasting meats, simmering sauces, fresh dumplings, and bowls of steaming rice line a serving counter, yet there are no cooks or proprietors in sight. Uncertain and feeling left out, Chihiro drifts away from her parents. Past more shops, the wooden walkway transitions into a small red bridge that spans a shallow channel of water. On the other side, she glimpses a towering, ornate structure with multiple floors, like a lavish bathhouse, roofed in green and red. Paper lanterns hang quietly along the paths waiting for night. Cautiously climbing onto the bridge, Chihiro senses movement. Out of nowhere appears a boy who looks to be in his early teens, with an intensity in his eyes. He addresses her in a low, urgent tone, telling her she must leave this place before twilight settles in. The sun is already sinking and bad things happen after dark. Alarmed, Chihiro stammers questions. "Go now," he insists. "Get your parents and cross the river back, hurry." Spooked, Chihiro races back to the feast, finding it nearly dusk without her realizing. Lanterns begin glowing softly. She gasps. Her parents have changed into giant pigs, devouring the meal with snorts and sloppy chomps. Panicking, Chihiro tries to pull them away, but they've completely transformed, unaware of her pleas. She stumbles backward, and suddenly the grassy field they had crossed is replaced by a deep body of water. There is no sign of the car. The water's surface reflects the emerging stars. Dazed and trembling, Chihiro notices spirits drifting out of the shadows. Transparent beings, some nearly silhouettes with painted masks, begin wandering the streets. The shops have come alive, their lanterns glowing, and subtle chatter from unknown creatures echoes off the walls. She tries to run, but finds the footpath submerged in water. She collapses onto the ground, discovering her legs look translucent. Is she vanishing? Suddenly, the boy reappears. He calls himself Haku, and urgently offers her a small purple morsel, explaining she must eat food from this realm or fade to nothing. Terrified, she obeys and regains solidity. Haku's voice is soothing, yet firm. "If you ever want to save your parents, you'll have to work here. Otherwise, the sorceress who rules this place will turn you into an animal as well." Though frightened, Chihiro clings to his promise that he knows how to help. Haku leads her along wooden walkways, across a wide bridge to the giant bathhouse, which stands illuminated with warm light. Strange frog-like attendants greet guests at the entrance. To remain unnoticed, Haku instructs Chihiro to hold her breath crossing the threshold. She desperately tries, but a chatty frog leaps up, startling her into gasping. The disguise breaks, and the frog shrieks that there's a human here. Everything erupts in confusion. Haku quickly conjures a spell to subdue the frog, then ushers Chihiro inside. Past sliding doors and corridors, they reach an industrial boiler room sweltering with steam. Tiny soot sprites skitter around, carrying lumps of coal. At the center is Kamaji, a tall, spindly older man who sports 6 elongated arms that let him work multiple levers and stir potions all at once. Haku tells Chihiro that Kamaji is the boiler man who might help her get a job, her only defense against being turned into a pig. Kamaji, grumpy and overworked, at first refuses to take on more help. He commands his soot sprites with a stern manner. But when a tough-talking worker named Lin arrives, Kamaji slyly claims Chihiro is his granddaughter who needs a job. He bribes Lin with a roasted newt, a delicacy for her, and persuades her to guide Chihiro upstairs to beg for work directly from Yubaba, the witch who runs the bathhouse. Lin, exasperated but sympathetic, escorts Chihiro through a maze of passages, rickety elevators, bustling kitchens, and steamy chambers. Everywhere, frogmen and strange creatures chatter about a rumor that a human has slipped in. Lin warns Chihiro that Yubaba is powerful and cunning. Still, Lin says, if you don't get work, Yubaba will turn you into an animal. Frightened yet determined, Chihiro steals her courage. They finally reach a grand hallway leading to an ornate set of double doors. Gently pushing them open, Chihiro stumbles into a lush but intimidating office decorated with golden ornaments, plush carpets, and elaborate drapery. Seated at a large desk is Yubaba, a tiny old woman with a massive head, elaborate makeup, and a sharp, imperious voice. Yubaba disapproves of humans and tries to intimidate Chihiro into leaving. Thunderous and fierce, she calls Chihiro a weakling, an unwelcome intruder. Yet a magical rule compels Yubaba to give a job to anyone who asks. Despite quaking with fear, Chihiro insists, please give me a job. Angered, Yubaba eventually conjures a contract and forces Chihiro to sign it. The witch then steals part of her name, leaving only one character of it behind. Thus, Chihiro is renamed Sen, and from now on, Yubaba declares, Sen belongs to her. If Sen slacks off, complains, or fails, she'll be thrown in with the pigs. Though terrified, Sen now has a slim protection, a job. Under Lin's guidance, Sen is shown the workers' quarters, a large communal room lined with futons. Exhausted, Sen drifts into uneasy sleep. Her dreams are haunted by images of her parents' helpless pig forms. She awakens to a brand new day in the bathhouse, with Lin pushing her out of bed, snapping, "Hurry up or you'll lose your job on your first day." Tasks come rapidly, wiping floors in steamy corridors, delivering fresh linens, carrying heavy buckets. At times, she's ridiculed for her human smell, or scolded for moving too slowly. Yubaba's staff mostly treat her as an outcast, but Lin, though brusque, begins to show grudging kindness. Sen's one solace is Haku, who appears occasionally, distant and formal in public, but gentle when they speak privately. He instructs her how to see her parents in the pigsty across the river, urging her to remember them so they aren't lost forever. Amid her chores, Sen sees a silent, masked spirit lurking outside in the rain. This being, known later as No Face, has a tall, shadowy shape and an expressionless white mask. Feeling sorry for it, Sen leaves a door open. Possibly wanting to help, No Face slips into the bathhouse. Quietly it hovers, observing the staff from corners, blending with the unnatural atmosphere. Around this time, Yubaba notices a foul presence heading toward them, a stink spirit rumored to be extremely pungent. She makes Sen responsible for welcoming and cleaning the creature. Overwhelmed, Sen tries to prepare a large tub, yet no one will give her the special bath token she needs for a deep herbal soak. So the timid figure of No Face appears behind her and conjures a bath token, offering it wordlessly. Although Sen politely declines extra help, the spirit persists, dropping bath tokens at her feet. Thunder rumbles and workers panic. A gigantic, dripping, sludge-covered spirit enters, sloshing thick mud across the floors, trailing an overpowering stench. Yubaba waves her scented handkerchief, instructing everyone to keep up appearances. Sen bravely stands by the large tub, urging the spirit in. As the tub fills, the creature's foulness nearly overwhelms her. She perseveres, pulling a rope to release fresh herbal water. The spirit moans, seeming stuck. Sensing a hidden object lodged in the spirit's side, Sen loops a rope around it and urges the staff to help haul. Together, they remove a mass of trash: bicycles, logs, iron beams. Finally, a rush of water reveals the visitor's true form, an ancient river spirit. Grateful that Sen uncovered the pollution it had accumulated. Freed of muck, it soars skyward, leaving Sen a small, bitter green medicine ball as a gift. In the moment of silence afterward, Yubaba praises Sen, gleefully collecting bits of gold the spirit left behind. In the wake of that triumph, No-Face tries to get closer to Sen. It conjures gold lumps and tosses them to the staff, luring them to serve it endless plates of sumptuous food. The staff, now greedy, swarm around No-Face, praising and appeasing it, especially a frog worker who is swallowed whole. With each devouring, No-Face's body grows, and it gains a new voice or manner. Soon, it's rampaging through the bathhouse, demanding food, devouring more workers, and flooding corridors with half-dissolved leftovers. Yubaba is delighted by the apparent endless gold, but becomes alarmed by the chaos. She tries to manage the situation, but No-Face howls for Sen, repeating in the frog worker's voice that it wants only Sen's presence. Where is she? Meanwhile, Sen discovers Haku in dragon form, grievously injured. White scales ragged, a flight of cursed paper charms attack him. Struggling, he crashes into Yubaba's office and is nearly dumped into a dark pit. Sen saves him, forcing the door shut against the paper onslaught. Haku reverts partially to human shape, bleeding badly. Kamaji guesses that Haku has stolen a magical seal from Yubaba's twin sister Zeniba, and is under a lethal curse. To save him, Sen uses a portion of the green medicine the river spirit gave her. Though Haku resists, thrashing in delirium, Sen coaxes his jaws open. The medicine causes him to vomit a black slug and the stolen golden seal. The slug wriggles away, but Sen stomps on it, presumably breaking Zeniba's curse, and, unknowingly, part of Yubaba's hold on Haku. Exhausted, Haku lapses into a coma-like state. Worried and feeling responsible, Sen resolves to return the seal to Zeniba, apologize, and ask for forgiveness that might spare Haku. Kamaji agrees, giving her a set of train tickets he's hoarded for years. The train travels only one way now, Kamaji cautions, but if you truly want to help Haku, go to Zeniba. She lives at Swamp Bottom, the 6th stop. Sen steels herself for this journey. Before leaving, Sen confronts the monstrous No-Face, which has ballooned to a terrifying size, swallowing more staff. It moans miserably, piles of gold scattered around. Sen remains calm, realizing No-Face is lonely and out of control within these greedy surroundings. She feeds it the remainder of her green medicine ball. Instantly, it retches violently, spitting out gulped-down workers and half-digested food. It chases Sen in confusion, wanting to cling to her, but with each step away from the bathhouse, No-Face shrinks, purging its corruption. They dash through corridors, out into the open air, where the now gentle No-Face follows Sen quietly. Lin appears, ferries Sen across the partially flooded grounds in a small boat. No Face wades behind, mild and harmless again. At a lonely train station platform, Sen meets the silent conductor who accepts Kamaji's tickets. She invites No Face to join her. So together, Sen, No Face, and two little enchanted companions, a tiny bird and a plump mouse who were once Yubaba's minions, board the train. As it glides over water reflecting a dusky sky, the rhythmic clack-lull of the rails soothes them. Ghostly shapes drift on and off at each stop. The hush is serene, a perfect moment in the midst of chaos. At the sixth stop, Swamp Bottom, Sen and her companions disembark. By now, the sun has almost set. A quaint path leads through a marshy forest. The air feels mysteriously calm. Fireflies flicker among tall reeds. Eventually, they come upon a little cottage with a sign reading Zeniba's. The door opens of its own accord, and an elderly figure identical to Yubaba but gentler beckons them in. Zeniba is initially stern about the stolen seal. Sen bows her head, apologizing for Haku's deed, and offers the item back. Touched by Sen's sincerity, Zeniba forgives Haku, explaining that the black slug was Yubaba's method to control him. Zeniba can't undo the pig curse on Sen's parents, but she does offer guidance. Remember who they truly are, she advises. Memory and love can break spells. Sen finds warmth in Zeniba's cozy home. The old witch serves tea, has No Face spin thread, and helps the mouse and bird bond, letting them rest upon her rocking chair. In the flickering lamplight, Zeniba gifts Sen a special hair tie woven with protective magic by her new friends. By the end of the quiet evening, the house feels like a place of respite. Then, in a rush of wind, a shining white dragon arrives. It's Haku, recovered enough to fly. Sen joyously embraces him. Overjoyed he's alive. Zeniba encourages them. Go home now, child. Take care of each other. She invites No Face to remain if it likes. No Face, content at last, decides to stay in this peaceful cottage with Zeniba, carrying Sen gently in his dragon form. Haku soars into the night sky. Far below, shimmering waters and lamplit fields glide past in a silver haze. Sen recalls a long-ago memory. When she was very small, she fell into the Kohaku River while chasing a dropped shoe. Instead of drowning, she was swept safely ashore by a friendly current. A name flutters into her mind. Kohaku. Realizing that Haku is the spirit of that same river, she says it aloud. Instantly, Haku's eyes widen. That is his true name. Freed from Yubaba's final hold, he transforms mid-flight, no longer bound by illusions or curses. Together, they drift gracefully toward the bathhouse, hand in hand, floating above the dawn-tinted landscape. Back at the bathhouse, Yubaba is furious about No Face's destruction and Haku's rebellion. She threatens to keep Sen's parents forever, unless Sen passes one last test. Haku swiftly counters that Yubaba must honor her promise if Sen succeeds. Meanwhile, Yubaba's gigantic baby, who was turned into a mouse, has returned to normal, speaking up that he likes Sen and doesn't want her harmed. Yubaba lines up a group of pigs and challenges Sen. Point out which two are your mother and father. Sen gazes at the dozen snorting pigs. Heart pounding, she trusts her memory and announces, "None of these pigs are my parents." She's correct. The contract with Yubaba dissolves in her hand. Yubaba keeps her word, albeit grudgingly, letting Sen, Chihiro, and her parents go. With Haku guiding her to the water's edge, the tide in the bay recedes. She thanks him for all his help. Don't look back until you're through the tunnel, he tells her gently. She nods, rushing ahead. Crossing the drained riverbed and climbing a short rise, Chihiro finds her father and mother standing near the car, back in human form, puzzled at her absence. They don't recall anything strange, as if time hardly passed. The car itself, however, is dusty with leaves scattered about. They drive off to their new house, and Chihiro, clutching the memory of her otherworldly adventure, feels something change inside her. Though reluctant about the move at first, she's now braver, more ready for life's unknowns. In her mind's eye, she imagines Haku, now free, soaring above the bathhouse, perhaps one day reuniting with her. Smiling softly, she turns forward, leaving the tunnel behind. Thus ends Chihiro's magical journey. Born from a child's fear of change, she plunged into a realm of strange spirits and imposing challenges. Yet with every test, befriending peculiar creatures, saving her parents from a terrible fate, embracing the dragon spirit she'd met long ago, Chihiro discovered kindness and love can overcome any enchantment. All it takes is remembering who we truly are and never giving up on those dear to us. Now, let the hush of night enfold you. Picture yourself floating through calm waters under lantern glow, guided by the unwavering courage in Chihiro's heart. In that gentle drifting, you too can find serenity and wisdom. Let the story's soft echoes lull you into a deep, peaceful sleep.